Welcome guys to my channel. Today we're talking about the global tokenization. Does it make any sense? As you already know, this is Crypto Academy and I'm Igomaria Prosper, a channel where you are educated about the latest information and education within the space. So the Block Show conference that was co-organized between Block Show and Cointelegraph just ended yesterday in Berlin, Germany. And a lot of industry heads came together and they were discussing a lot of stuff. That is one of the things you have to really consider. In any industry you are, if you watch those who are way ahead of others, they are the ones that are interacting with people. It could either be going to conferences, or maybe engaging in insightful talk, or maybe on Reddit or whatsoever, or maybe whatsoever miss. So you have got to interact with people. Now, interacting with people online is very different from interacting with people in the physical. Online, it may run into abuse and maybe bias and all that, but when you come in the physical, it's a different ballgame entirely. So this is a speech that David Lee actually gave in the conference. So I tried to repackage it and give it to my audience because it's very, very insightful. Now, if we talk about the tokenization, the blockchain today can make tokenization possible in any domain, whether it's in the Internet of Things domain, okay, whether it's in our data, we can tokenize our data, attention, stocks, bonds, properties, nearly everything, anything that you can ascribe value to will be tokenized in the future. And if you are looking at that, we have to consider many stuff from the investment side of it and up to the building side of it. So if we talk about the generations of the generations of blockchain, we have the first generation. You talk about the internet of value. Have Bitcoin brought a very powerful consensus mechanism where everybody can see that, oh, this is what actually happened. Everybody can attest to the state of a ledger, and then made the payments possible between two individuals without a bank or a third intermediary. And then that was not enough. Some bright mind came and they said, okay, why not we design something that will enable us to have contracts that does not involve third parties, that does not involve human intermediation. And that is where Ethereum came. So we brought Turing complete smart contracts, and then we have decentralized applications. So the second generation of blockchains brought about the internet of smart contracts. And then the third generation now is where we are. So what will the third generation bring about? The third generation is going to bring about the internet of inclusive technology. Great shout to David Lee who gave you speech. So what that means is that the third generation is going to support, as you already know, we have scalability, security issues and all that. The third generations of blockchain is going to support large scale applications. If you watch most of these blockchains, they've not been really tested. I think what the estimates, there was a report that Coinbase had, I think, less than 20 million customers. If you talk about BINANCE, and we're talking about the range of customers now. And we've not seen platforms that have millions of users. The only one that has really millions of users will have Steemit. So when talking about Coinbase, Binance, those are exchange. A lot of people don't do trading, and even though you do trading, you don't do trading at every day. We're talking about developing systems where even Steemit is not even up to the task. So you want to consider that. So it's going to support large scale applications. And the next thing again is that it's going to support cross chain. So we're talking about interoperability. So this is the third generation of blockchains. And then it's going to support chains within chains. So what that means, like a platform like a chain, for example, you can have a chain, and then you can fork the chain, and then there is a value exchange protocol, a medium where you can actually communicate between one another. And then there will be stable coins of course, because you cannot be doing business when you are doing business. For example, there has to be budgeting. Okay, this is what this thing will be, and even though you try to make the budget to adjust to maybe market parameters, like let's say you're making a budget and you say 10% inflation rate in case there's inflation. But blockchain or cryptocurrencies, they are really volatile. And then there will be financial inclusion. There are many people who are unbanked, and maybe they don't have access to internet and all that. So the third generation of blockchains is not going to be a blockchain where we just build things. No, it's going to be an inclusive technology. So when we talk about the inclusive technology, like we talk about things like storage. We're talking about there are different approaches to storage, like sharding, shredding, or bringing the hybrid of them, like sharding and sharding together. Then we'll talk about scaling. So scaling, bringing things like instant off-chain payments, like you have the Lightning Network. Talking about like off-chain two-party dApps, like introducing state channels. Then we're talking about off-chain multiple-party smart contracts. We're talking about like Plasma in Ethereum. Then we're talking about off-chain computation. So off-chain computation, we're talking about platforms like TrueBit, ISEC. I'll talk about that in another video, ISEC. Then we'll talk about the next thing, talk about security. So when we talk about security, no business wants to come and put all their operations in the public. So if this is an organization and this is the public, think of it. You don't want to come and relate with every person. No, there has to be a private stuff. So the security is going to ensure things like how do we make smart contracts very secure? And then another aspect again is the issue of privacy. So if there is little to no privacy, security is not actually in the game. So we have things like encryption. How do we bring zero knowledge proof and many other stuff. So they are bringing privacy, smart contracts, and many other stuff. And then there is stuff like multiple chains. So multiple chains, it will support things like cross-chain, atomic swap, or atomic transfer. There will be the combination of private, consortium, and public blockchains. There are consortium blockchains, private blockchains, and public blockchains. And then it's going to also support things like the convergence of technology, like IoT. Blockchain is already there. You have platforms like IOTA using a distributed technology called directed as acyclic graph, IoT chain, Internet node of token, and many other stuff. Then we'll talk about big data. Blockchain is at the cross of, it's like blockchain is this, and all this within blockchain. Artificial intelligence. You have many platforms that are actually going after that. We have robotics. We have the cloud. We have data oracles, and the list continues. So if you look at blockchain value proposition, blockchain value proposition, the blockchain value proposition that we're actually seeking in this third generation, first is the issue of collaborative efficiency. If you actually take the time and maybe you're following up all these platforms on their media handles like Twitter, Reddit, and all that, you will discover that most of them are actually trying to partner with this or that. And it's a very, very good time, because there is no single platform that's going to solve every stuff. So there has to be a collaboration rather than say we are coming to take you down. No, there has to be collaboration. There are things that this platform knows, and there are things that this platform does not know. And then we'll have things like scalable partnerships. We have scalable partnerships. We have network effects. That is where we are talking about network effects. So if the value proposition does not have all these things, then we have to reconsider the systems we're actually building. So there has to be collaboration efficiency. There has to be scalable partnerships that bring partnerships, and it's scalable. There has to be network effects, and then there is this fractional assets ownership, and then you have the inclusive trade trusted consensus carrier, which is the token. So when you're looking in a blockchain project, you are about to actually invest, you consider all these stuff, because these are the stuff that is going to ensure if that project is going to die or if it's going to actually be very successful. There has to be collaborative efficiency. There has to be scalable partnerships. Don't just say, oh, this platform A announced that they are in partnership with B. No, let them give you specifics. Oh, we are partnering with this platform. They will help us with marketing. Good. That is details. We are partnering with this platform. They will introduce our token or our platform to many businesses. There has to be details, because most of the times you see platforms say, oh, we partnered with this, and there is no specific details. Pay attention to that. And then what makes for a successful token? What makes for a successful token? So when you are actually investing, David Lee, I actually like the guy so much. He talks about the 3 C's. So what makes for a successful token or successful project? There are things you have to look for. The first thing is a community. Listen, they may have a very complex white paper. In the conference, at the blockchain conference, Amir Rosic, as you already, many of you know, he was talking about something. He said that these white papers that a lot of people write, they are far too big for the general audience. Guys, you, at least for crying out loud, you are seeking for funds. Okay, yeah, you can have a white paper, technical paper, and then you can also have a business paper where you are outline. Because if you look at many of these blockchain platforms, there is no, and their white paper, there is no business model. There is no talk like that. For crying out loud, these things are businesses. Except you are building the next Bitcoin. So there has to be the community. Don't confuse community with what you see on Telegram or on Twitter. On Telegram, well, we could get, they could be bought. Join our Telegram, will give you X amount of tokens. People will join. People are driven by incentive. Or maybe someone can just come and I myself, I join a lot of Telegram group, but I'm not very active on them. Maybe I spend per week, I could spend maybe 1 minute on them. So I don't even know what is even going on those Telegram group. I could just join, okay, join this Telegram group. And then maybe I just join to get the latest info and all that. So when people say we have 50,000 people in our community, that is, you see the interaction is less than 0.1%. So be very careful. Also Twitter. Is there engagement? The fact that is not community. Facebook, it's not community. Do you know what is a community? A community is very simple. Community consists of the investors, those who are investing their money to make this thing come to pass, the users, those who are actually using this stuff, they are called customers, and you can divide the users in different aspects depending on the business. Like we have the one-time users, we have the recurrent users, those who are using this platform over and over, and then you have the partners for efficiency. So then you have the partners in one way or the maybe one business, this and that. And then the third part, you have those who are building on the soft. So, or you can put it three. We have the investors, those who are using the system, and those who are partnering in one way or the other to build the ecosystem. So there could be businesses, it could be developers building on the system, it could be whatever platform. So don't confuse community with passive people who just join groups and don't do anything about them. Ask yourself, do you know how many WhatsApp group I belong to? Do you know how many Facebook groups I belong to? Do you know how many Telegram group I belong to? Do you know how many people I follow on Twitter? You can't engage with every person. So when a person is boasting, we have this. That is not a community. Please know that. The next thing again is compassion. The project, is it born out of compassion? If there is no compassion, there cannot be passion for the project. Are you solving something out of compassion? It is something you want to really consider. Then there has to be creativity within the team. There has to be resourcefulness within the team. There has to be a way of, the team has to be very creative. You want to look at all these stuff. The reason why people invest most times is because they are listening to a YouTuber. There is no problem with listening to YouTubers. The thing is, you have to do your education. Then the 5 Ds, it talks about this digitalization. What are you digitizing? There are times, like a very good example is you have the certain chain, where the livestock of farmers can actually be, you can embed some technology stuffs in them, then you can track them, and then these farmers can take loan on behalf of these stuff. So that is one example. So the question is, why are you digitizing? And then the last thing again is that you want to consider the system. Is it a democratic system, or it's just one of those cloud businesses, or decentralized business? Is it a a business that is like democracy, the governance, also the governance, the day-to-day running of the business? So what that means is that is the project for the people, by the people, and with the people. You want to consider all those stuff. And another thing again, you want to consider projects that the investors are the real worthy, and they are not. It's not a project that every person contributed to. You want to consider those kind of projects. You don't want to invest in a project where the few rich invested, and then they're not saying, okay, oh no, you want to be very careful. Then, why are you trying to? Is there decentralization? You want to consider other stuff, and then are you willing to diminish yourself? There are times, if you watch most times, like in China, most of these entrepreneurs, the Chinese government is cracking down on this. Well, they move to Singapore. That is regulation stuff. Then at times again is, there are businesses that, when we talk about blockchain projects, it's a very wrong approach to say we want to cover the world. If you are looking at projects, you want to look at projects that are very detailed in what they do. If you look at Facebook, for example, it started in the university campus at Harvard, if I'm not mistaken. And then with time, it took over the whole state. Then you talk about a nation. Then you talk about the whole world. So when you look at the project, comes and say we are targeting the world, and there is no place that they are starting from. They don't have any base anywhere. And they just want to, do you think you must have a base in the place? So are you, maybe the place where your business is going to succeed. There are many businesses, many blockchain projects that will not succeed anywhere except Africa. That is just the truth. They will not succeed anywhere except maybe in South America, where the people need the service. So the question is, are you willing to go and fish where the fish is? Because if the fish is here, there's no reason of going to it. Then who are you trying to disintermediate? Are you trying to remove any person? You want to consider those stuff. And then you talk about the LASIC business model. So it talks about, is a business, is it the kind of low margin? Is the asset light? You want to consider all these stuff. Is the business scalable? Is it the kind of business that we need? It's like, is it a business that the more, like a network effect, the more people are using it, the more it becomes cheaper to run, or the more people are using it, the more the cost. Let's say, for example, you have you have 10 persons, you spend $1. Now you have 100. Are you spending $10? You have one. Are you spending $100? Or the more people are using it, the more it becomes cheaper. Let's say 1,000 people, you're now spending something like maybe $12. Then we can say it's a very scalable business. So is it a scalable business? Then innovation. Is it really innovative? Then that thing again is compliance easy. So most times there are places where compliance is an issue. If you're not developing a kind of, there are projects, if you're developing projects that will benefit people, like maybe an example is Sentinel chain, or maybe you are involved with insurance, or maybe an exchange, or maybe any kind of service, then you have to actually be very, very compliant. Sorry, I've really taken time, but it's education. So the question is, what's decentralized tokenization is not? So what tokenization, decentralized tokenization is not, is the repackaging of old economy into the token economy. So if you are trying to just come and say the old way of doing things, you say no, you just come and you want to bring a token for it, it's not really accepted. The next thing again is using tokens to bypass IPO regulations. So there are many blockchain projects that were existing in the physical world, and if you really look, when we are investing in projects, most times we have to be very, very careful. There are questions we have to ask. Questions like, why do you need this money? Many of these blockchain projects, some of them are failed businesses. I'm telling you. And if you really want to make investment, proper investment, you have to go beyond LinkedIn. There are times where you go and you check LinkedIn and you say, okay. Patrick Lowry, one of the guys from Iconic Lab in the conference, he was saying something. He said, when he was about, maybe he's trying to do research on a project and their team, he said people in his LinkedIn connections who had no affiliation with blockchain, all of a sudden now have 5 years in blockchain experience. You want to be very careful. When you go on LinkedIn, everything on my LinkedIn is what I put there. The question is, did they verify? Did they verify? There is little to no verification. I agree. I think Though I'm not using it, I think LinkedIn has a kind of kind of pro service where it's a kind of subscription service. I don't know what they do there and all that. But the LinkedIn you see is, can you actually attest to those claims? If you really want to make, that is why, if you really want to put huge money in crypto, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars or millions, there are things you have to do. Say that you are going to align yourself with one of these blockchain investment funds. You have platforms like Bank to the Future, you have Iconic Labs, you have, or you work with platforms like Gibraltar Blockchain Exchange. They are offering a service, or you want to offer with work with ICO writing services, because you don't want to do that. Many of these platforms, their claims are outrageous. Then the tokenized economy, the decentralized tokenized economy is not fundraising. Fundraising is as a sole objective. So when you're talking about a platform, all they want to do is raise funds. And I see it in the crypto concurrency market. You put X amount, and once you can turn the X amount to Y amount, I have no problem with it. And if we continue to do that, we will ruin the blockchain market. That is not done in the centralized world. VCs don't do that. A VC is not giving you money because he just want to make quick bucks. They are giving you money that says, okay, take this, build something that will change the world. In return, I'll make profit. And not take, you see platforms just raise the money. Oh, we want to build something. In the next day, they are launched on an exchange. They only have white paper. Come on. I think we have to change the way ICOs are run. If we give you money, the minimum time it should take for an ICO to list on an exchange, the minimum is not days but 6 months. So if you are investing, come look at it in the real world. Investing, it takes 5 years. If I'm not mistaken, in the IPO, it takes 5 years. You're talking about the rounds. It takes years. And that is why it's only for accredited. And I don't know if crypto is going to go to that stuff. Accredited investors who you're talking about. Do you make like $200,000 or $1 million per year? And you can only invest with $5,000 minimum. So platforms that just have paper, just paper, and launching coins, launching ICOs the next day because of hype, they are trading 30 times, 5 times. Come on. And those who invested their money everybody just starts taking their money off. And once you take your money off, there's no accountability. There's no accountability. And it's a very big problem. And as I put on my Instagram post, I think you should be following me on Instagram. Here is my Instagram post. Many projects are raising lots of money and nobody's demanding accountability. Nobody is demanding. What are you going to demand accountability for? If you invested X amount, you've gotten Y amount, you didn't make, there was no loss. So what concerns you if they build the project? And 46% of projects that raised ICOs, that did ICOs last year, have no business model, have no business plan. Come on. Then the decentralized economy is not if if there is no contribution to decentralization, then that is not a decentralized tokenization system. If you're not using technology to serve new users, then there is no stuff there. If it's just a means to extract more, like we're talking about speculative value, if that is all the value that the project have, then that is not a decentralized tokenization system. If the value, if the value is, listen, when you look at many of these blockchain projects, trust me, nobody's using them. Nobody is using them. Okay, it could be wrong to say nobody's using it, but the ratio of those who have the tokens to those who use these platforms is very, very low. Let me give you a quick example. CI coin, for example. Question is, how many people use this CI coin compared to those who have? But now you see why the XEC, the Security Exchange Commission, and many of these platforms are saying that these projects are securities. It's true, because someone just bought them and said, okay, X amount of time, I'm going to sell. There is no use. Blockchain is going to go to the extent where certain assets, that is where blockchain is going to go, that certain assets will only be, I don't know. Where certain assets will only be sold to people who will use them. And maybe that they're going to design systems where you're not going to store these things in your cryptocurrency wallet. If we are talking about CI coin, that CI coin is the token that will enable you to access the CI coin system, that will enable you to upload, that will enable you to download and all that. It's going to come to the point where if you are not using the platform, you will not be able to purchase the coins. That is where blockchain is going. This is not time of putting it in the wallet. Watch for that time. I think it will soon come. Then, if it scores low on what we've discussed so far, the 3 days, the 5 days, then it's not really a decentralized token. So the next thing that we want to talk about is sustainable token economy. So what is a sustainable token economy? The first thing is it is inclusive. So there is this inclusive when it comes about finance, inclusive with technology. Like I told you, there is the convergence of technology like big data, IoT, artificial intelligence, robotics, and all that. So there is the sustainable, that is the sustainable token. It's inclusive from the finance and then technology. Now, the sustainable token is first global, it's decentralized, and then inclusive. So it's inclusive, finance, technology coexist. So there's a coexistence between the government. If the project you are trying to invest in is a project that will not comply with the government, that project is going to fail. Why? Because no government wants to put their citizens at risk. That is why we understand that it is humans. Even people, even businesses, even parents, even families. There is no person, whatever you're doing, if you are doing something, then there is the other side of it. Yeah, computers are very good, right? But a lot of people feared about computers. When computers came, the bad side is that there were many businesses that went into extinction. So we have to consider the pros and the cons of things, not the government is bad. So your business have to coexist with government. It has to coexist with other business, and then decentralized autonomous organizations. You want to consider those stuff. So you want to consider if what we're talking about, if it's sustainable now, is the business a kind of system that complete the ecosystem or compete in the ecosystem? Let's say this is a room, for example, and we have X amount of people in the room. If we are trying to compete against one another, we will not go far. There is an acronym that says, it's called team. It says, together everyone achieves more. And that is the shared truth. Together everyone achieves more. The Bible says that 1 shall chase 1,000, 2 shall chase 10,000. So what that means is that if this one is chasing on its own and this other one is chasing on its own, 2 of them will be chasing 1,000, right? But if 2 of them come together and start chasing, they will be able to chase 10,000. That is the law of life. When people work together, they achieve more. Then so a sustainable one is the one that's serve and not seeking to be served. So if you watch about business is a kind of form of relationships, if you want to put it that way. If you have a relationship or a friendship, and that friendship is a kind of friendship that seeks to be saved, it's not going to last. So is the platform seeking to serve? Or what? And then next thing is empowering and not possessive. That comes to the issue of open source and closed source. There are many projects that are filing for patents, and the definition of that patent most times is this and that. To file for patents is very good, but if you are actually looking at projects that are going to be successful in the long run, that the projects that are open. They are open for people to build upon. They are open for partnerships. They are open for many aspects. So that is what global tokenization will actually mean. You can use this stock for knowledge, as a knowledge to help you in your investment and all that. So please always consider all these stuffs when you are actually making your investment. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do. Thank you.